Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your game, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome back to another episode of Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I am here with Alex or Clay Thompson, whatever you would like to refer him to. What's up, dude?
Not much. It's funny you say that. I was at a pumpkin patch kind of near you. It's called Van Buren Pumpkin Patch.
What's up, Clay?
And yeah, some 16-year-old kid went up to me. He was like, "You look like Clay Thompson."
Did you go, I am?
And I was like, "Give me your money."
$20 for an autograph.
Yeah, I'm broke. I'll give you an autograph.
Yeah.
Just give me your money.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we haven't been posting too many TikTok videos, but when we did, it was constant. Clay Thompson. You said that you used to get a lot of Vinny from Jersey Shore. I don't see any of that. Just straight
I never
Clay.
said that.
Who was it from Jersey Shore?
I never got anybody from Jersey Shore. What I got was Officer Doofy from Scary Movie all the time.
I can't.
And then Will Wheaton.
Don't even know who Will Wheaton is.
He was on like Star Trek and some other stuff. But yeah, I got Officer Doofy, the guy who played Officer Dewey in the Scream movies, David Arquette. I got that literally all the growing up. It was just, you look like David Arquette.
I don't see the Will Wheaton one that much, but I guess I never knew you without a beard. And then when this dude did get a beard, I don't see it.
Did you look up David Arquette?
Is David Arquette? Wait, David Arquette. Oh, I've seen him. Yeah, he's been in a couple movies. Like, I don't see the Clay Thompson's the most fitting so far for me.
Well, it's because of the eyebrows and like the beard, but I mean, I look a lot like David Arquette. Sadly,
do you think that?
I mean, I do.
I think also because he's just way more tan than you are. You're so white, especially in this lighting right here.
David Arquette?
You are the white one.
Oh, look at this, guys.
Smile like that. A little bit.
Yeah.
But the eyes throw it off a little bit.
Really?
Anyways, week 6 is in the books. Did you win any of your matchups?
Half of them.
I heard you're trying to buy some players this week in our Dynasty League, yeah?
Yes.
I'm glad people said that's you, specifically him.
Oh, yeah.
Who's some of the players you're targeting in Dynasty trades right now? Who you trying to buy?
I'm trying to get Derrick Henry from your boy Felix.
Yeah? He's being greedy with them? What's up, Albert?
I mean, I understand, like, he's a good player. I'm just not willing to give up the world for a 10-week rental in my eyes.
10-week rental. When are we going to stop saying he's a 10-week rental? Because I feel like he's been a 10-week rental in a lot of people's eyes for 3 years now.
I would say the difference is they actually found a running back who could replace him.
Sure.
I think that's the difference. Previously, you can't think of a running back who got involvement as much as like Spears has been getting.
The guy is still an RB12.
I think this year he is fine. I think he ends up finishing anywhere between 8 and like 14, which is what I plan on paying for. It's just he's not young. He's got a lot of miles. I mean, at some point, it's gonna drop, and I don't know what this team's gonna look like next year.
Yeah, and I think there's like a lot of different strategies, obviously, with Dynasty involved, and this is a team that, I mean, sold out, has no future currently in place. Got to be kind of stingy with his pieces. I don't know. I'm selling this year. I sold this year, and
sure.
I believe I'm going to be stingy as hell with a lot of the players I got, because a lot of these teams are competing, and I just like to see everybody squirm. I think it's more amusing for me. So I'm not saying it's a great strategy. I think it's more fun.
I don't know if you have a strategy when it comes to Dynasty.
Oh, I do.
Maybe. I mean, like for example, if let's say if I offered you a first rounder, next year first rounder, a third rounder a couple years out, and Khalil Herbert, would you take that for Derrick Henry?
I think the Khalil Herbert is a piece that I would want to switch with a better piece, but sure.
Or let's say a first rounder, Nico Collins.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Okay. That has been offered.
Interesting.
So I've offered both of those.
Got Miles Sanders for that offer.
To where I don't know what to do.
I got Miles Sanders for that offer.
Yeah. I don't know.
You love Miles Sanders. You still have to have hope.
What do you mean? I have Miles Sanders in one league.
I thought you loved him. I thought you ranked him high. I'll give you him for that offer.
No, not right now. He's injured.
Why?
Because here's the thing. You forget to realize it because I haven't played him. I have Jordan Mason on my taxi. I do have Khalil Herbert still.
He's not back for like 4 weeks. He's on
for
IR.
3 weeks.
And he's going to lose his job.
Nah, dude, Roshan.
He's going to lose his job.
Well,
what are you talking about? Roshan hasn't even really played.
Well, yeah, for the last, 2 games. But
yeah.
And Dante doesn't look great. We know Dante's the backup of the backup.
Never concerned for me.
Right. To where Khalil's last 2 games, he looked great.
Are you talking about the last 2 games against the Denver Broncos and like you're sheltering this a little bit? Denver Broncos and Washington Commanders.
Washington's defense isn't a bottom 5 defense. I mean, it's
a bottom 10.
Is it?
They're fixing things. They're getting better weekly.
I was like, I don't even know what they're fantasy wise. They're almost bottom 10. They're a bottom half for sure.
Yeah,
but who knows? Khalil's look good. He's looked good enough.
I don't think so.
Regardless, and that's what I was telling Felix is regardless, it doesn't help me this week.
Hurrah.
Because Derrick Henry's on a bye. So it's
then good. So Miles Sanders, I got you.
I don't what Miles no.
Willie,
I do have him in the league.
Live trades right now. If you want to add to it, bring anybody along. If you want to get them in on a 4-way deal, Alex is buying and we are selling. We are hot right now. We are taking live trade action on the air. While we wait for Willie to get back with some trade offers, he hopefully will be scouting for us. Let's hit some of the news that we had from this week. Julio Jones signed today to the Eagles. This is one of those moments where I pretty much want to say mostly noise, not really a big regard for fantasy, but I'm not completely sold on him being complete wash, especially on that offense. I feel like that offense can bring out the best in anybody.
I'm not rostering him.
I'm not saying to roster him. Maybe in deep dynasty leagues where you're like contending and you might have a spot. And I mean deep, like 14 team dynasty, you might
maybe
be desperate.
24 team dynasty.
No, I don't think it's that bad. I think look, say Julio does okay in his wide receiver 3 role and something happens to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, you kind of have a nice handcuff there. Just depends on how he looks, but I don't think if you have a spot, I don't think it's that worst addition ever.
I would say if you're a good team.
That's what I was saying, contending team.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing you can do.
Yeah. Myles Gaskin and Darrell Henderson to the Rams. What we might get more into this later. Any of them on your radar right now for redraft or dynasty?
I think it's obvious for Dynasty. Nobody's really that important, but it's going to be weird. This backfield is literally going to be like, who knows? With
It's kind of a gold mine backfield, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, Sean McVay is making a very big effort to make sure the run game is going in this offense this year.
Yeah,
and it's been working.
But I also think they have a running back who is showing that he can be the bell cow.
Something's more serious than I think they're leading on. So I read a tweet today that said Kyron Williams most likely was pretty much said that he had a low ankle sprain, but typically they wouldn't rule an RB out, which they haven't officially, but they pretty much said he's most likely out this week. They wouldn't rule him out this early on a low ankle sprain. So they're thinking the severity might be a little higher than low.
No, I agree. It's just they're going to have three. All right, so you have two running backs you're realistically going to give touch when Kyron's out. And that's Zach Evans and Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson knows the offense.
I don't know if Darrell gets it.
Behind Evans.
Well, I think it's Royce right now. They left. It's weird because they left Henderson. Henderson's the only one that's still on the practice squad. Myles Gaskin and Royce are the ones that got signed up.
I think Henderson ends up if it's a more than 1 or 2 games. I think Henderson's going to get more of a shot.
Oh, yeah. I meant this week, but yeah, I could see that too.
I don't want anybody besides right. I mean, and that's the thing. Who do you roster?
I think the only one. We'll talk about it, but I think the only one I would take a shot in redraft is Zach Evans for me,
right?
And dynasty, really. But I'm rostering Darrell Henderson, hoping that something pays out where somebody pays me.
Yeah, you never know.
Random roster. CMC injury considered not that serious, questionable for this week. Good news all around though, because if it was rib cartilage. Maybe a fracture. It could have been him out till past the bye, but it's not. It sounded like the MRI came back decent. It's good news. I know where some of our waivers are going, but I'm still going to advocate for those because you never really know with CMC or injuries in general. So James Robinson to Green Bay Packers. News? Not really.
Nah, it's about as exciting as eating a dirt pie. I mean, it's like watching Eddie Lacy at a buffet. Just
man,
James Robinson.
J-Rob.
He was never really that great, but I mean, he's been on
really
5 teams.
Achilles.
Yeah,
it's been a lot.
But the thing when he was at Jacksonville, he wasn't amazing. He just was.
He
ran hard. It reminded me of Najee's rookie year, where he just got a ton of touches.
I think it reminds me more of Pacheco.
I don't think so. Well, no, Pacheco's runs a 4.3. James Robinson runs like a 4.6.
Pacheco runs a 4.3.
You didn't know this?
Pacheco runs a 4.3. I've seen him run on the NFL field, and it never 4.37. No way. I've seen that dude run.
Like, do you watch him play football? He's fast.
I do. He doesn't look that fast on the field. He's fast.
Well, it's because
he does like high steps and he runs angry, which cracks me up every time.
Well, that's the thing. He's weird when we actually see him take off, which isn't a ton, honestly. When you see him take off, he doesn't look as fast as like a Chris Johnson because he's bigger. He's got like probably 20 more pounds than Chris Johnson did, but it's like watching a flat-footed child when he gets the ball. He stops before he makes cuts. He flat-foot stops.
Dancing. He does a lot of dancing too.
Because of that, angry. Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets more touches than he probably should.
Yeah, Pacheco's talent's funny because he's a raw player.
For sure. He doesn't know how to run right.
Me and Norton started a segment last week that we wanted to talk about things we learned from week 6. And I have a good one here for you, Alex. It's on point 2 though. So you're going to have to wait a little bit. So thing number 1 that I learned, Texans have a shot at playoffs this season with CJ Stroud. There's a legitimate chance at playoffs.
Not a great division.
I think their chance is more on one of these wild cards. It will be tough. They are 3-3 right now, though.
Remember,
the Saints.
The defense wasn't absolute garbage last year, and the coach is legit, and CJ Stroud is rookie of the year.
All of those things are absolutely true. I mean, I think you and I talked about D'Amico a lot and how it was probably the best coach hire of the offseason. I was going to be excited for where Ben Johnson went. Ben, the OC for Lions. But D'Amico he's going to be a good coach. This is going to be a good team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people gave, Kyle Shanahan.
This is the Detroit Lions this year.
But
they already started off better.
Yes. And there's
they're ahead of schedule.
Key thing that they've done. Obviously, Houston's pretty good on D. And they've made sure they've had a pretty solid O-line. Nico, they've made good decisions in the last 2 years. Tank Dell was a great draft pick. Nico was a good draft pick. The running game is up and down, but CJ, I'm surprised. I mean, to be honest, we can look at my rankings. It's not great. I did not think he would be as good as he is, and I'm glad to see it. The dude throws a really pretty ball.
I'm surprised in terms of redraft. I'm not surprised that he looks like the best QB from this class. I think that's how I had it. CJ, AR.
It's just originally I thought Carolina had like a better team just because of like the receiving options, but their O-line is bottom three.
Their receiving options are overstated outside of
Thielen's
Thielen.
good.
Thielen's he's overperforming currently.
Yeah, Thielen's good. But that O-line, the issue is I still don't think Dameon Pierce is that great. I think the O-line is that good.
Damien's not doing anything. They really could use an RB.
Right. I don't think Dameon
need
Pierce
an RB.
is that great. He's doing okay. He's not doing terrible.
They honestly need an RB with speed. Sorry,
yes.
I keep cutting you off.
No, I agree. This is a team that CJ Stroud does enough to open it up. And like they're trying to, follow the blueprint of the Lions. Like, they drafted Gibbs because we need a speed back that can open it up, a little bit more, helps out the receivers and take some pressure off of your interior defense or offensive lineman. Dameon Pierce is just a big, slow running back to where you can just dedicate reads to him.
Yeah.
It's not going to open it up.
Things I learned from week 6. The Patriots might be the worst team in the NFL, and yet they are currently still pick 6 if the season ended today.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true?
Yeah.
They gave up, I think Vegas scored, is that Vegas's highest score this year was 21? It might be. They're not good on offense. They're not good on defense. They look lost out there. I mean, Mac improved this week from last week, I guess.
I don't even know if Mac Jones is a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL or if the Patriots are just that terrible.
Confirmed. They did give up the most points to the Raiders this season.
I don't know what to, as a Patriots fan, there's
a lot of different ways to look at it. He has no wide receiver. The offensive line is absolute dog crap right now, and they're just leaving him with no choice. The unfortunate situation is this is more common than the dilemma that you're dealing with. This actually happens with a lot of younger quarterbacks. They just get rode out with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, most of the times that ruins their development. I mean, look at Geno. It took years for him to get back to it, and some players don't even get the opportunity that he got.
Geno last year could have just been a flash in the pan.
It's not been the same Geno as last year, that's for sure. But it hasn't been the 2014, 2015 Geno either.
Yeah, that was a terrible Jets team.
Yeah. I think so. I think this is very common. And what's going to happen, though, if the Pats do get a top 3 pick, they're taking a quarterback. That's going to be their first choice.
Yeah, you have to. Here's the hardest thing.
You trade Geno for some picks, whatever picks you could get. You get offensive linemen with those picks, probably.
Yeah. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do. Bill Belichick shouldn't be making draft choices. He shouldn't be making general managing choices anymore. This isn't like, hey, this is a new development. This has been the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Dude doesn't know how to bring talent in anymore. He can still coach.
Doesn't. Hopkins should be there right now. Hopkins should be there.
I mean, I'm not super disappointed with Hopkins not being there.
I think he looks washed because he's with Tennessee. I don't think place where
I'll be honest. I don't think he would look that much better at New England. The only upside we have going for us is I think we're going to have the most cap money in the NFL next year. It's the only thing we have going for us.
Oh, that's good. Good for you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Things I learned from week 6, and this is a true thing because I really didn't think it was possible. But you can actually stop Brock Purdy in this 49er offense. Now, it's going to take some bad weather and a top 5 defense to do so, but they are not a lock to win this Super Bowl.
No. I still
the
think
blueprint just might have been made. Put the pressure on.
Oh, yeah. Here's the blueprint. Get a top 2 defensive end.
Get
have a top 3 defense.
Yep.
Have Denzel Ward playing the best he's played in his career, and
have Emerson on the other side.
Yeah, it's the Browns have a legit defense. This is something that they've been building up for the last 3 years, and it just hasn't happened, and it's happening.
Look at that! Who would have thought? All it would take is a good coach, get a good defensive coordinator, and this is what happens.
A defensive coordinator who consistently is a top 10 defensive mind in the NFL.
Great point, Willie. Yeah, I mean, look, you bring in Denver brings in Vance Joseph. I think I'm going to say something that's probably not. I don't want to call it bold, but probably not the way it should go. I think you give coaches. Why should I keep Vance Joseph on my defensive coordinator right now if I'm the head coach of the Broncos? Why? You had a decent enough talent to do better than he's doing.
Yeah, their defense. I mean, I don't think anybody expected their defense to be a top 15 defense, but nobody expected them to be a bottom 5 defense.
Why should I, if I'm the Chargers, why should I keep giving Staley this go?
You shouldn't. He's going to be fired by the end of season.
Is there any reason that what are we missing? I know we're coming from the armchair. What are we missing that these guys aren't just getting the boot? When you see a guy like Mike McDaniel just dog it, you're never going to find. I mean, you very unlikely to find a guy like that, but it is a sign of things could be better if you had a better coach. It's such a large part of the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams who keep coaches too long thinking oh, I don't want to overreact. But to be completely honest, the game is ever changing and there's always smarter and brighter minds out there. You just got to find the right team with the right coach.
Blows my mind. It goes to Matt Canada. Why are you keeping Matt Canada when it doesn't even seem like your players want him there?
No idea. Just shows stability. That's probably something that they make a decision in the offseason this year, but
I mean, second half adjustments, make them. We could be better. We can make the playoffs.
Steelers offense actually could suck though. Patriots offense could who knows? They could just be bad players.
No, I refuse to listen to that.
All right.
All right. Let's get into some of these waiver wire finds that we have. Let's start off with the QB. First on our list, Sam Howell. Now you might be saying, not in my league, but if he is out there, I think he's rosterable. What's your thoughts on Sam Howell, Alex?
Besides the Buffalo game, he's been a top 10 QB.
He has to throw a lot.
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy that I'm not saying drop Geno for him. I'm not necessarily there, but I could see him finishing somewhere in top 16. It's definitely something
I would drop Geno for Sam Howell.
Woo-wee! I think Geno should be worth being added on this QB waiver wire. Then
why?
If he's out there.
What's he? What is? I don't even know what he is right now. But what is he QB 20 something?
QB 23 with a bye though.
He's got one top 15 week.
That's a solid point. I mean, he's played the Giants. He barely threw against them because he got hurt. Detroit was, I mean, that, I don't know. The 323 yards just had 2 interceptions last game.
Yep. I mean, he was
plays Arizona this week though, so like I would stream him this week.
But then he's got Cleveland, Baltimore. Like, I would rather start Sam Howell.
You know what?
I don't.
So I think I would say I think I'm okay to pick up Geno and stream him if you need a quarterback this week. But you're probably right. Cleveland, Baltimore, skip a week, back to Rams, who's been playing pretty solid defense. San Fran, Dallas, San Fran, Philly. That's a rough schedule for old Geno.
Yeah, it's
look at that stretch, dude.
I don't want any of the business. I don't want it. Not until I see it. Until I see some more consistent weeks, I don't want it.
Matthew Stafford makes the list if he is out there. He's actually been, I think both of these guys have been on our waiver wire shows for probably 3 or 4 weeks, but we saw the roster percentage is still too low. Matthew Stafford looking like he's going to, we're hoping for some touchdown regression here.
I think that it's just they're gonna be throwing the ball more going forward. I think there's gonna be some games that he's gonna have to throw the ball more, and the more chemistry he gets with those 3 receivers, his arm has looked good this year.
Let's take a step back here, because outside of last week, Matthew Stafford has thrown 33, 37, 40, 38, 55 times. I don't know how much more you're getting than that. Do you mean he might be completing some more passes?
I think he's going to be getting more touchdowns, more completions and more touchdowns.
I can see that too. With Cooper Kupp, I mean, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I like Matthew Stafford being on here. I think he's a great guy you're going to have some buys coming up. Let's get him on there. Let's get him on our roster. Make sure he's filling in for certain guys. I know Joe Burrow is on a bye. I know if you're Alex, you're starting Zach Wilson on a weekly basis, so you could replace Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that's me.
Starting old headband. Yeah. I wanted to add a Superflex section here. This is for your Dynasty Superflex, or if you're doing in a redraft in a Superflex. I think all of these guys, here's the thing. Superflex is so tough that like most of these guys probably are already gone. And
Aiden O'Connell
in Dynasty.
You think?
I think he's taken in ours.
By
I can pull it up right now, and I bet you he's on the team.
Yeah, he's on Bill's team.
Wrong?
No, he's on Bill's team.
Oh, I did spell his name wrong. It's A-N. Yeah, I think all these guys get rostered. But I mean, if there's any of these players out there, I mean, here's how I'll list it.
Blah.
I'd probably rather have Gardner over all of them because I think he's the starter for the rest of the year.
That's like saying I would rather be able to see than be blind.
I think Tyson's a cool little upside play, but I'm biased because I have him.
No, Gardner's the play. If Gardner's available, which he's probably not available in most leagues, you're rostering him.
Mostly, this is mostly targeted for the dynasty leagues that we're talking here, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's looking like A-Rich is probably going to be out for the season.
Yeah.
So he has some really tall weapons. He's got 3 receivers over 6'4".
And he threw what 53 times in both his starts. He has 2 starts. You know what his total throws are? 99 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's a guy
you want
to. And I don't think he's making a ton of like mistakes. I mean, he was
last week he struggled.
Jacksonville, yeah, that was bad.
But I think he was at Jacksonville. Maybe he had
He's playing Cleveland this week. Probably wouldn't play him this week.
Probably wouldn't play him this week.
No, Gardner, Myles Garrett's going to have a field day.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't go down to their 3rd string QB after this week.
Yeah, he's going to be hurting.
Moving on to some of these RBs. I have a couple on this list that I will die for this week. But let's get to it. We'll start off with one of the ones I added, and I think you would agree with this, at least for the week. Roshan Johnson. Chicago is up against, 1 second. They play Minnesota this week. Oh, nope, that was last week. Las Vegas this week. I think Las Vegas is very middle of the road against the running backs, but Alex is going to hate this part. This is a season-long play for me. I think we're going to see Roshan come alive. Deontay Foreman looked very pedestrian. He didn't look bad, didn't look great. I think they're going to have to go to Roshan a ton and probably still use Foreman quite a bit, especially with no Fields this week. If Roshan can carve out a role, it's really him proving himself. If he proves himself over the chance he got, which is Khalil Herbert on IR, this could be a play that helps you win your playoffs this year. I think in addition to that, this is a guy that I thought would kind of carve out this role starting around week 8, week 9 in the regular season, but now here's his shot.
Yeah, he's this week. I would say
Albert, I heard this has been talked about, but not quite done yet. I saw somebody fake me out with a tweet, though. I've not seen it officially that Daniel Jones is placed on the IR.
No.
But I think that the rumors are that they're talking about it. Yeah, the doctors aren't clearing him. That's right, Willie. RB1. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
With Roshan, I would say out of the rookie running backs, that were coming out outside of why am I drawing a blank? Yeah, Bijan Robinson. I think Roshan had the most upside. If he doesn't blow, anyone away the next 2 weeks, then when Khalil comes back, it's his backfield again.
I can see that happening. I mean, not that I can see that happening. I guess I'm saying is if he doesn't prove that it's his backfield, it won't be his. I mean, it's pretty simple, right?
You get one shot.
This
like
is it.
Eminem said.
Although I think, is this Khalil Herbert's last season, or does he got one more year on that contract?
I think it's his last year.
So, I mean, he's got another shot. Roshan will have another shot at this, but he really
for this year
to make it happen.
Yes.
My second one that I added. So Roshan's my priority, probably of all the guys that we talk about on today's episode.
He's probably rostered in most leagues, though.
I agree. I found him in a couple, but I agree. He's probably rostered in quite a bit. My second priority, though, probably overall, because, again, you're probably hurting at RB. My second priority is Zach Evans. Here's the thing. They signed Myles Gaskin. They signed Darrell Henderson. There's Royce Freeman there. Especially if you're a Kyren Williams owner, you need to put in some sort of insurance bid on Zach Evans. Here's what's I don't want to tell you guys to get too crazy because I don't think I don't think it's worth it. It might be just a very 1 week, 2 week rental. If you're in a keeper league, dynasty league, if he's not rostered, I would especially look at it. Zach Evans has a chance too. If you watch a lot of Zach Evans, and I know you hate on him, Alex, to me, he runs like a baby Marshawn. I've always thought that's how he kind of looks in some of his film. I am not, there's that narrative that's in the back of my head that I'm like, I wonder if this is going to play out where he's kind of jokingly, but is actually getting an autograph from Matthew Stafford. One of those like, oh, look at this guy who's a stud now. Before the season was asking Matthew Stafford for an autograph. So Kyron's been pretty solid, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. I think he has like 8 total touchdowns on the year. It's going to be hard to dethrone that, but Zach Evans has a good shot to kind of take over. I think Kyron's injury, I don't know if we talked about this on the show or pre-show, but I think it's more serious than they're leading on currently.
Yeah. Roster him. Don't spend a lot. He's not a big back. He's okay. And they did bring in another running back. Roster him.
Two other running backs.
Yeah. I don't love it. I'm sorry, Willie. Zach Evans is not an RB1.
I love this too. Like if I had a pick, it's funny because I think Elijah Mitchell is going to be 1 week healthier, but this is still the back I'd want.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason.
Yep. I'll be honest,
you're biased.
I'm 100% biased. He's been on my dynasty team since he came in the league. And I remember last year in training camp, they were just like, this guy looks good. He runs big, he runs heavy, and he's just doing the right things. But you had Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey there. So it's like it's going to be very hard to get playing time. Even with Christian McCaffrey healthy, when they do spell him, Jordan Mason's been getting more touches than most people thought he would get.
Well, because Mitchell's been mostly hurt all year.
Yeah, but even early on, like they were surprised, like why
He
is
was
this guy
hurt early on, is what I'm saying. He's been hurt all year.
I mean, that's Elijah Mitchell, but like for
It is,
example,
yeah.
like I mean, here's the crazy thing: Elijah Mitchell, even so, the 3 games he's really played, he hasn't gotten a ton of touches. He got touches against the Giants when they were up a ton, and he wasn't efficient. He averaged like under 4 yards per carry.
He's been pretty bad, but it does seem like even this week he came into this week questionable. But if he was active, so you have to assume that they're just starting to lean more Jordan Mason's way. And honestly, it makes a little bit of sense. If you got a guy that's not staying healthy, and then you also got a guy, Elijah Mitchell, he's kind of a burner. So maybe you think that fits. He kind of fits, like if CMC is to miss a game, he fits replacing that because that's how their offense kind of runs. But at least as the RB2 person, it's nice change of pace with Jordan Mason because he's a lot bigger. He's more of a bruiser, and he's still quick, but he's not CMC or Elijah Mitchell fast.
No. I mean, here's the thing with Elijah Mitchell, too. He's a B- version of Mostert. He's a skinny back who's quick. I can't count. What do you say?
Oh, did you?
Too soon. Remember, A-Chain's 100 soaking wet. Yeah, but A-Chain's also a freak of nature. Evans doesn't move like A-Chain does. He doesn't.
He's not quite as fast. He's not as
fast. He's not as quick. They're you know what I'm saying? They're completely different players. Zach Evans, like you said, runs the ball like he's Marshawn Lynch, but he's not 220 pounds.
Yeah.
That's the difference. He runs hard, but he's not that big.
He's 202.
That's not big.
It's not small.
That is small. How tall is he?
5'11".
Yeah. That's. Would you say Mostert's a big back?
No, I honestly always think
back.
Mostert, but Mostert's not as small as you think. 5'10", 205. I don't think that's that small. And I always look at Mostert and I'm like, I don't necessarily think he's tiny.
What's considered a small back? Like back to I think that's
James Cook. That would be like my threshold right there. He's small.
Okay, 5'11", 200 pounds, exactly.
He's 190.
Not anymore.
Why? I mean, his thing says 190. What do you want me to do? You know some inside scoop that I don't know about?
No, he was 190 coming out.
Then how do you know Zach Evans is still 202?
I'm just saying, 200 is not big.
This is your favorite. 190. This is your favorite topic is the size. But I think he looks good. Zach Evans, I know we're bouncing back and forth here because we were just talking about Jordan Mason, who I think looks good. But Zach Evans looked good in his college film. But then you come back and you say, well, he got dethroned twice. Why do you think he left TCU? Is that TCU?
He was a 6th-round pick. Was he a 6th-round pick because he looked great?
I don't care if he was a 6th-round pick. What was Kyron Williams? 5th, 6th? And he looks fine.
Well, yeah, Kyron Williams actually looks good. I don't think Zach Evans looks as good as Kyron Williams.
Brock Purdy was the last pick overall, and he's doing it.
Yeah, Kyron Williams. Where did he go?
He might have been undrafted.
That's probably 5th round. Not much better. Played at Notre Dame. Kyron Williams is. I don't know. I mean, if you told me Kyron Williams is going to look like he is this year, I wouldn't have believed it. He's a shorter back, but he's got a good center of balance.
Well, here's the thing, Alex. These backs face the least amount of stacked boxes, 8 men in the box in the NFL right now. And that will continue as long as Cooper Kupp and Puka are on the field. So, right. I mean, that's the advantage. You can like the player, hate the player, but the advantage is being in the Rams offense right now.
Unless you're Cam Akers.
I like this one, Alex. And I'm willing to sell if you want to buy Craig Reynolds in Detroit. There's a lot of Gibbs truthers out there that are going to tell you he'll get the bulk of and he might get the more touches. But don't act like Reynolds isn't going to get some burn over the next couple of weeks.
I think it's going to be split backfield.
I do too. I think Gibbs leads.
I'll be completely honest. I said at the beginning of the season, I think Gibbs is a worse player than Swift was.
I mean, look, dude. They dropped the ball on Swift so bad.
They wasted a first-round draft pick on a running back that gave carries up and didn't look that crazy.
I missed all of these comments from Willie. Kyron is nice, and he did beat out.
I like watching Kyron. I think Kyron is actually really good.
Willie saying, "Gotta split it. Don't rush Gibbs back after injury." I don't know.
I think if Gibbs was 100%, they're still splitting it.
Yeah, and I think they trust Craig. I mean, somebody posted the clip from Hard Knocks, and I remember it I remember it just as much as when I watched it, but they were just at one point they were debating cutting Craig Reynolds last season, and the coaches outside, like everybody made their case to Dan Campbell and said, we can't cut him. And then he said, if you cut Craig, you're going to have some linemen coming to the door because he just works his ass off and he plays hard. And they're going to want to give a guy like that touches when the opportunity presents. And Gibbs could be fine. He could be fine, but they're not going to want to load him with 20 touches first week back.
He's not a running back you load with 20 touches to begin with.
No, I don't think he is.
I don't know if this is an honest question.
You can.
Honest question. I don't know. I'm going to look it up. Do you think Gibbs got 20 touches in a game in college?
He did not, would be my guess. Because I think
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. But
I think he had 180 carries was the most in college. Now, if he got a ton of receptions one game and 10 carries, then sure. But I think the most he got in
151 rushes
was the most ever.
Yeah, 151. Yeah. It was his senior year. Kind of a smaller back, 5'9", 199. I mean, that's not small. That's normal for 5'9". That's pretty good. He's a Blazer, but it was like pretty good receiving the football. But yeah, the dude's never had a ton of touches. Even when he was like the starting running back at Georgia Tech, he had 143 touches or 143 carries.
Yeah.
That is something to look at. That's what always kind of weirded me out on like why you would take a running back who doesn't have that many touches coming out of college. Like DeAndre Swift, probably got 300 touches his last year at Georgia?
I don't know.
I'm not trusting him yet. I think he's a gadget player still.
No, I think Craig is nice. I mean, Craig runs like David Montgomery does. I mean, they're very similar in that sense. He runs hard, doesn't go down easy. David Montgomery's been doing it, but like when we talk about this is a system though, right? Like David Montgomery is not doing anything that Jamal Williams didn't really do last year.
Same thing. The exact same thing.
It's the same thing.
They are very similar. David Montgomery is just younger.
Machine. Detroit is a well-oiled machine right now.
It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
Craig Reynolds, bigger back. He's got probably 15, 20 pounds on Gibbs.
I added two others in here, and these are kind of deep roster stashes. If Jeff Wilson's out there, I'd probably add him.
Yes, you have to.
Mostert is getting a lot of touches right now. Miami doesn't want to do that. Salvin Ahmed, I would add as well.
I played him last week.
I think he is. Well, Chris Brooks went down. I actually was ready to tell you guys to add Chris Brooks because he was actually starting to jump. Ahmed, he's week to week now with an ankle injury. So if either of these guys are out there, I'd probably go pick them up. If you have a spot, 12 team or higher, they will see one of them will see significant playing time. And
Jeff Wilson plays, it's going to be Jeff Wilson.
I agree.
Ahmed is irrelevant if Jeff Wilson plays.
Probably, yeah. I mean, depends on maybe not the first week back, but yeah.
Yeah.
Stash RBs. I left pretty much the same guys we had on the list last week. So Elijah Mitchell might still be out there, but people are going to be going crazy for him along with Jordan Mason. I wouldn't overspend the budget. Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller. Get these guys before something happens. Just put them on your bench. If you have the spot, I get it. Sometimes you can't wiggle it, especially with buys coming up. These are guys that we're telling you keep an eye on.
Injuries
anybody you want to
happen.
add in stash RBs that you could think of, like real deep?
No, Tank Bigsby was a guy that I will tell everybody that line is playing really well. ETN is tearing it up. You want to have that handcuff. That's to me,
Charbonnet, but he's probably rostered in most.
Yeah, Charbonnet's okay. I would say the Jags are a better offense. They have a better offensive line as well. I mean, ETN's just really Tank Bigsby's a top 5 running back handcuff right now.
Let's go to some wide receiver ads. Jameson Williams kicks off our list, another Detroit player here. Alex, do you think he's out there in many leagues?
I think in redraft and depending on
he was
how,
last week.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll look at I'm just going to check ESPN really quick. I drafted him and just kept him with just hope. He is only rostered in 34% of leagues.
He's definitely he's going to get used. I am not as in on Jameson, but I absolutely think he should be picked up in all formats. I have him on a couple teams, and I'm probably the least JMO fan as there is right now. And I have him just because there's that unknown upside, right?
Sounds like Curtis Samuel.
There's the upside. There's the upside of Jameson Williams is look at what they can do with Josh Reynolds. And that's what you're like, then Jameson should be fine.
Yes. Offense is stacked. Offense is stacked.
Goff is playing. Goff.
Top 5. He's a top 5 MVP right now.
He should be.
Yep.
He should be.
Yep.
He's all the people that said he can't play away. Guess what? He can this year.
You know who didn't say that? This guy.
Who was it? I don't know.
This guy.
Wow. Curtis Samuel is on the list. I got to be honest with you, dude. I'm not interested. Been down this road before.
You haven't been down this road with Curtis Samuel in 3 years.
No, last year I remember being down this road early on in the season.
The pace.
I mean, sell us. He's wide receiver 25 right now.
Sam Howell, it's a security blanket. He's targeting him a ton. They're making it. He's healthy. They're making him a part of the offense.
Is he targeting him a ton? 16, 20. He's got 31 targets through 6 weeks. So he's getting targeted about 5 times a game.
5-6 times. Yeah.
No, 5. Just 5.
What's Jahan Dotson getting targeted at?
Well, hey, this wasn't a Curtis Samuel versus Jahan Dotson. I wasn't saying Dotson's not.
Well, we're talking about how Sam Howell has been a top 10 quarterback besides 1 week.
They have the exact amount of targets.
And Curtis Samuel's been doing more. I'll put it so. Curtis Samuel kind of fell off, but he was. I think last year he was targeted almost as much as McLaurin when Carson Wentz was the quarterback.
Yeah, well, T-Mac is just lighting it on fire. He's head and shoulders above both of these guys this year. No.
What's he? Terry McLaurin? I mean, he's had how many? He's probably had a couple good games.
He's wide receiver 23, so not too much far there, but he's getting 33. He's got about 42 targets on the year.
Okay, so he's getting a couple more.
He's averaging
about a game.
2 more a game, yeah.
Yeah, I would. And this is what I'm saying is, I'm not hating on Terry McLaurin. Obviously, he's already rostered, and for most leagues, especially over 10-person leagues, you're playing Terry McLaurin. What I'm saying is Curtis Samuel's doing the same, so why aren't you playing him either?
Get Terry McLaurin light, you're saying?
Until something changes. I mean, you know how this league is. Everything is a trend. We see, first half of the season versus second half of the season. Like there's trends.
Yeah.
And with Curtis Samuel right now, especially in the red zone, Sam Howell's looking at him. He's getting those slant looks.
These are fair points. I added one that I am advocating heavily. He was on the list last week.
I don't disagree.
Rashee Rice is the wide receiver to own in Kansas City, and it is going to take flight very, very soon. There's a couple of indicators that none of them are too sticky quite yet. But I mean, over the last, since week 2, 51, 46, 30, 49 is his snap percentage count. Since week 2, 7, 5, 5, 4 are his targets. Last week against Denver, albeit 4 for 4, 72 yards. I mean, the dude is starting to heat up. If you actually watch the Kansas City Chiefs play, Rashee looks far and above most of these wide receivers.
Don't disagree. I would roster him. He's Tony looks like shit. Sky, I don't think anything happens.
Sky
with
can't
it.
get open.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same. I'm going to be honest. This is the same thing where, we said last year, and it's the same thing we say going into this year. There probably isn't a receiver on this team as of right now yet that I'm playing. I like Rashee Rice. I think he could be a flex bye-week play.
I think his upside's higher. I think his upside is higher.
You're rostering him, but I'm being honest. You're
saying right now? Are you saying right now?
Yeah. And here's my reasoning.
No, I agree with you. I agree with that.
He's been right so efficient. Pat Mahomes has, I think, completed 80% of or actually 90% of the passes he's thrown to him, which is ridiculous.
He has 28 targets, and of those 28, he has caught 21. So 75%.
That's super efficient.
It is. It's insane.
So it's not like he's getting 10 targets, 8 targets a game. He's probably averaging 5 targets at best. 4 or 5 targets.
Yeah, over the last 4 weeks, he's averaging just right a little bit above 5. Yep.
You're rostering him. You're keeping an eye on him. I think he's a bye week fill-in.
He's this is where it is though. But they have a bye week in 10. They have Chargers, Denver, Miami, Philly. So it goes Chargers, Denver, Miami, bye week, Philly, Vegas, Green Bay. I mean, these are some juicy matchups.
I think most of those matchups are going to be more run oriented and dumping off.
I disagree. How
the
are you
Broncos?
How are you going to run against Miami? The Broncos, they beat 19-8. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was the Broncos' best game of the season.
How are you going to they're at Denver this time. On top of that, how are you going to only run against the Chargers? How are you going to only run against Miami? How are you going to only run against Philly? You're not doing that with any of those teams, especially not Philly. You're not running against.
I'm not playing Rashee Rice until I see more.
I don't know if that's.
I like him rostering him.
I don't think that's what I'm getting at. I'm saying it helps. I'm saying it helps to prove that I think there's some huge, massive upside here.
I don't think there's a ton of upside. I think what you're seeing
is, dude.
I think what you're seeing is pretty close to what you're going to get.
No.
All right, I'll say this. Kadarius Toney has averaged 12 targets in the last 2 games.
Average? He has 24 targets?
No.
The last 2 games?
What I mean is he's had 12 targets the last 2 games. He's averaged 6 targets a game.
Okay.
I'm not rostering him.
No, because Tony's not doing anything with them. I don't understand what's that mean to me.
What I'm saying is I don't think that Mahomes is going to be completing 75% of his passes to Rashee Rice. I think there's going to be it's going to level out.
That's fine. It will level out in that way, but the idea here is that he gets more than 49% of the snaps.
Yeah, is
that we start to see him take over this wide receiver room, and I mean, there's great opportunity for it to happen.
I agree. They don't have a wide receiver one.
And he can make it happen in some of these matchups is really what I'm getting at.
For sure. You're rostering him. You're taking him on the waiver wire. I definitely agree with you there.
I think upside's incredibly high with Rashi. I also have
Yeah.
Wan'Dale Robinson on this list. How do you feel about that?
He's a giant, so I think you're having some issues thinking.
8 for 62 last week.
With
He has
Taylor.
had 25 targets through 4 games with or without Tyrod.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
I think he's a deep league. I think he's deep league roster.
I think he's 12-team roster. I'm not saying start him, but I think he's rosterable. He's coming back from an ACL tear. He's clearly the Danny Dimes' favorite wide receiver.
Who's the other receiver? Is that Hyatt?
Hyatt doesn't have near those targets, if that's what you're wondering.
I mean, let's look at Wan'Dale. He's had one good game.
You're looking at production. I'm talking specifically. If you're only picking up for points, then you're not doing it right.
What I'm saying is, target wise, he had one good game for targets.
5, 6, 6, 8 is bad.
No, 8 is good. 5 is okay. If
6
you're not
is good.
6 is solid if you're doing something with it. What did Hyatt? I mean, Hyatt got 4 targets. I don't love. I mean, we've talked about this all year. Giants receivers, nobody's loving them. You're not going to love them. There might be a game where he gets you 12, 14 points, and then he might get you 2 the next week. Have fun.
He's got a higher floor than that just because he does get as many targets if this keeps up. But I mean, look, dude, you guys talk about Darren Waller all the time. He's tight end 11. He's doing nothing, and he gets a ton of targets every week.
I get that. I think the biggest difference is there's so many bad tight ends outside of the top 5.
It makes tight end 11 nice. Speaking of tight ends, let's talk about some waivers we have here. You wanted to talk about Jonnu Smith a little bit, which is this is just gross, but I get it to an extent.
I don't disagree. It's not like what I have in here. He's not finished worse than tight end 18. He's finished in
tight end 9 on the year.
Yeah, he's finished
now
in the
this is tight end premium though.
He's finished in the top 5 twice. So almost a quarter of the time he's a top 5 tight end. The offense is kind of
tough.
The Patriots, where they're going to be running 2 tight end sets. There's not a number 2 receiver who looks like anything. Drake London's getting more targets. It helps out the tight ends. I don't love it, but he's getting more targets than. I mean, you did not think he was. I don't know the comparison off the top of my head between Pitts and Jonnu, but I have a feeling Jonnu has the same amount of targets,
if not more.
Yeah.
If not more.
It doesn't make sense. I wish this Jonnu was the Jonnu that when he was at the Patriots, but he was never healthy.
So Jonnu has, I already forgot, but I just did the math really quick. 17, 21, 32, 38 for Kyle Pitts, and I think Jonnu is right there as well. Jonnu has 32. So 38 to 32 with Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. Insane. I don't know if you had this one on your list or if I did, but I love this one. I think you were super high on this guy preseason.
Yep.
You loved Mayer.
I did like Mayer going in the season.
Yes, because you love your Las Vegas Raiders. It's like your favorite team ever.
Bro,
it's like the discount.
Two.
It's like the discount Patriots, pretty much.
2.
Mayer's looking good. Mayer is looking good. He is the last 2 weeks, for whatever reason, they have made a focus on him to be involved in this offense. The first 4 weeks, they hardly made that effort. And I don't know what has happened to kind of bring that about. I'm pretty sure it was the first drive. He had 43 yards.
I think Josh McDaniels was this.
I don't know if I would drop Tank Dell for Zach.
No,
that's the only problem. I absolutely think Zach Evans is worth a pickup. I don't even know if he's a start yet. I think that's a risky play. So the question is, I'm sorry, I'm reading that. Zach Evans worth a pickup and start at flex this week. Would drop Tank Dell. I really like Zach Evans. I would pick him up. I would not drop Tank Dell over him.
Nope. Hell nah.
So if you give some other names, I'm down to listen to that. But yeah, Michael Mayer, they've really got him involved. He was, I think he had 3 receptions, 43 yards on the first drive.
Josh McDaniels has to switch things up. He's got 2 good receivers. Running game's looking not amazing.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better.
I think the team overall is going to get better. The
They won
quarterback
3 in a row, right?
Yeah, the quarterback situation is going to be kind of iffy, but if O'Connell is going to be playing more games, that's only going to benefit Meyer.
Yeah, I think they got decent signs from Jimmy G with his back, but I don't want to. I should end it there.
It can take 4 or 5 games for teams to make real adjustments to start noticing it, and that's the thing. It's like once 4 or 5 weeks into the season, you kind of realize where you're making mistakes. Then it might take a few more games to actually start making those changes, and then those changes really don't kick into effect until the midway point. That's why you see some guys who are irrelevant the first 8 weeks of the season might be rostered, and then the last 8 weeks they're balling out. I think this might be the case. Tight ends it's a flip of a coin outside of like 5 or 6 of them.
Trey McBride, deeper league stash. We're kind of desperate here. So any tight end that we really throw up, you could see it on the list. Didn't mean to do that. I think Michael Mayer would be the number 1 priority from both of us. I know you had him listed. I don't know if you had him by an order there, though. But Michael Mayer would be my priority tight end if he's out there. For me personally, it goes Michael Mayer, Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith. I don't even know if Trey McBride is on your list. McBride was involved a lot more this last week. It seems like they finally are saying, we got to start looking towards the future. We got to start getting him more involved. He finally split snaps with Zach Ertz completely, had about the same amount of targets as Ertz. It didn't make sense to me that they were keeping Ertz as involved as they were when this team has no real future for this season.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't focus too much. I think, roster.
Hey,
I think
Josh Dobbs likes the tight end, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I think McBride's not a worse roster, but you're not playing him anytime soon.
No, I think you'd rather have Jonnu over McBride.
Yeah, he's just they're literally not throwing to the number 2 or number 3 receiver at all. It is London, Pitts, Jonnu. And Pitts and Jonnu's the same. And they're running 2 tight end sets. They're running the ball a ton. That's what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball.
They've been throwing more than I have ever imagined.
Probably still bottom 5 in the league.
Alex, any last thoughts on waiver wires or things we learned from week 6, dude?
I think what we learned from week 6 is we still don't know what the heck is going on with this series. It's watching the Chiefs and the Broncos game. I don't. It's been kind of a crazy year. Obviously, there's been a ton of injuries already. Running backs are weird, and I think the guys who did the no RB and no QB for the first 4 or 5 rounds, I think this is paying off for you guys this year.
I have a couple leagues like that, and in ways it is, in ways it's not. So it just depends if you landed in the other spots.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Outside of like a couple running backs, it was worth waiting.
Last thoughts from me is if you're in Dynasty, maybe even some redraft, go trade for Rashi, dude. Don't listen to Alex. Go trade for him.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
For myself, for Alex, we'll be back tomorrow. I think it's Norton and Robbie on tomorrow to go over some buys and sells. And we'll be with you for the rest of the week, Thursday and Sunday. For myself, for Alex, peace out. We love you. Peace. Thank you for watching our episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
If you aren't already following us on Twitter, check us out at DadBodFS.
We'll be posting all of our best clips and videos to all of our social media: TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. You can find us on there at DadBod Fantasy Squad.
Lastly, if you'd rather just listen, we make sure we post our audio of each episode on all the major streaming platforms. Stick with us all season long so together we can count our trophies and not our calories.